Hi kindergarten, Mrs. Lattice here, and I am going to work with you a little bit on math today. Now, some of the things we're going to talk about are things that we have already learned about in kindergarten, but in my classroom we say that if we don't use it, we lose it. So that just means that if we have skills in our brain already that we don't continue to use, that they might kind of leave our brain sometimes. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to warm up by shapes. We're going to review some of our shapes. So I'm going to hold the card up and I want you to just shout out what shape it is. We're going to start with our 2D shapes. And when I hold up the 2D shape, I want you to just shout out what the name of the shape is. Some of our 2D and 3D shapes have vertices, that means corners, and some of them have lines, and some of them have curves. When you shout out the name of the 2D shape, I want you to tell me how many corners, vertices, the shape has, and how many lines or curves the shape has, okay? That's an extra challenge. So I'm gonna hold it up, tell me the name, and then if you know the name, I want you to tell me curves, lines, and how many vertices if it has it. Ready? Here we go. Be making sure. If you know the name of the shape, tell me how many vertices, how many lines, if it has vertices, corners or lines. Okay, great, good job guys. Now, we did 2D shapes. That means our shapes that are flat. We are going to do our 3D shapes right now, which means our shapes that you can see all around. They are not flat, you can see all around, but they have vertices and lines too. So I want you to tell me the name of the 3D shape and then how many lines or vertices it has, or lines and vertices that it has. Whoop, upside down. This way for you. There you go. Okay, awesome, good job. I want you guys to continue practicing your 2D and 3D shapes because like I said, if you don't use it, you could lose it. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about tens frames because your work that you're gonna do today on your own has to do with tens frames and teen numbers. And we are all expert on teen numbers and tens frames, so this is just gonna be kind of a review of things that we've already learned in our classroom with our teachers. So what I want you to do is you need to get either a piece of paper and a pencil. So you can go and grab that right now. You can pause me if you need to, and you can go grab a piece of paper and a pencil. Or if you have a dry erase board like this, you can go get a dry erase board and a dry erase marker and an eraser. So if you have those things, you can pause me right now, and I want you to go and grab that, okay? So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about tens frames and making those teen numbers. So when I have a tens frame, I think about, why do I call it a tens frame? I want you to tell me, why do I call that a tens frame? Because it has 10 squares in one frame. So look at my top frame right here. There's 10 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. I want you to make 2 tens frames, just like this. So I want you to make sure that you have 5 boxes going across up top and 5 boxes going across on the bottom. You're gonna make 2 tens frames because we're gonna work with the teen numbers, okay? So you can pause me right now and I want you to make 2 tens frames, making sure that you have 5 up top and 5 on bottom. If you need to double count before you unpause me, you can double count. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold up a number and I want you to tell me what number this is. Okay, you guys ready? Here we go. Just shout it out. Awesome. You're right, that is the number 12. So when I make the number 12 in my tens frame, I make sure that I look at how many tens I have first in my number 12. So in my number 12, I look right here. How many tens do I have? Tell me. I have 1 whole 10. So that means I need to fill in my tens frame all the way because I have 1 whole 10. So I'm going to fill in my full tens frame. And I know that once I have this whole tens frame filled in, I have 10. So I'm going to say 10, and then I'm going to look at my number again and think about how many ones I have. Oh, I have 2 ones. So now I'm going to go on my bottom tens frame and I'm going to start filling in down here. So I have 10, 11, 12. Awesome, good job. Let's practice another number. Here we go. I'm going to erase all of my little dots in my tens frame. If you have a piece of paper, you can just draw your tens frames again. You can pause me and draw your tens frames for your next number. All right, I'm gonna show my next number. I want you to tell me what number it is as soon as you see it. You guys ready? Just shout it out as soon as you know it. Awesome, you guys are super smart kindergartners. That is the number 14. And in the number 14, I wanna think about how many tens do I have? How many tens? That's right, I have 1 10. So when I fill in my tens frame, I need to make sure that I have 1 10. So I get to fill in my whole 10 right here, my whole tens frame. Making sure I fill it all the way in to make my number 10. Mrs. Lattice isn't even counting because I know that once I have this tens frame filled in, that I have 10. So in that number 14, I want to think about how many ones I have. That's right, I have 4 ones. So on the bottom, I'm gonna fill in. I'm gonna say I have 10, and then I have 11, 12, 13, 14. Awesome, great job, guys. Okay, so today, when you're working on your paper, you are going to make sure that you are reading the number that's inside of the flower and that you are going to make that T number in your tens frame. Remember, when I have my whole 1 tens frame filled in, I have how many altogether? How many do I have? That's right, I have 10. So once I have 1 whole tens frame filled in up top, that means I have 10. And then I just keep counting for my 1. So I say 10, and then 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, guys. So now I want you to go off and do it on your own. Bye. See you later.